What to do, what to do. This is the Brothers on Books podcast where we find great books that will give you real value and actionable steps and have fun in the process. Please reach out to us at brothersonbooks@gmail.com for any book recommendation or if you would like to be a guest host for a particular book you have in mind. A great review or rating on whichever platform you're listening to would be greatly appreciated. Lastly, if you can think of any friend, family member, or coworker that might like this episode, please pass it along. And remember, if it's a dark and stormy night and you need a drink to warm the depths of your heart, we at the Brothers on Books go with Encha Matcha, the best matcha for the best brothers. And now our listeners can get 10% off when they use the link in the show notes. I'm Alex Alwell, and with me as always is my brother Jack. Jack, how you doing?
Doing great, Al. How are you?
Doing pretty good, I would say.
It's hard to believe this is our last book in this season cycle, I guess.
Season 11, yeah. So
It's hard to believe.
I don't remember when did we start doing when did we start drafting versus just sort of like announcing what we were doing?
Hmm, I would guess we've done at least six book drafts. That's my guess, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure either. Um, yeah, that would be interesting if we wanted to go maybe look that up. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've had a whirlwind. I mean, I feel like you probably have too. Amount of traveling. I just got back from Atlanta, I guess technically last night. Was playing in a team event in Atlanta. I probably had the craziest or most intense, I don't know how you would put it, game of my whole life. It was the teams, there were five lines on a team, and you
Hmm.
had to win three of the five lines for your team to go through. And our teams were tied 2-2. And then me and the guy I was playing with, we were the fifth. We were like the last game to finish. And this was just one game to 15. And we ended up winning 23-21.
Okay, pretty
And
nice.
yeah, I mean, there were probably like the entire event was watching us. It was probably like close to 70 people watching us, and it was getting pretty rowdy because both teams were watching there. Uh, it was very intense. It was a
Cool. Was this like your
madhouse.
fourth time in Atlanta in the last like month?
Yeah, it's been way too much. Third.
Man,
It's my third.
okay.
Yeah, I'm tired of going to Atlanta.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, yeah, well, that is exciting. What did you got did that lead to
So that pushed
something
us
or
that pushed us into the semis, and then in the semis, my individual line still won, but our team as a whole lost 2-3.
okay.
So we got
Okay.
bounced in the semis. But the team that beat us ended up winning, so that felt pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, so today we are doing The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. I guess I picked this part of my creativity, trying to increase creativity. Wasn't entirely sure what I was expecting when I read this, but I guess nothing else. It was a very easy read. I felt like it was easy to get through it, probably 160 pages, big type, quick to go through. Uh, I don't know. I felt like I guess to me, there was like one major talking point. I guess I could what before I bring up mine, like what were your initial thoughts?
It was a quick read. I thought the message I took from it was I, a vital one, I would say, and it's something I've shared with people that I've been talking to the last couple of days. So it's at least been enough that I'm talking about it. So I guess that's a good sign whenever someone reads a book. So I guess
Sure.
I would vote two thumbs up for this book. And yeah, I'm curious what your main takeaway from this book was.
Yeah, I mean, my main takeaway was this concept of, I guess he brings it up, and it's essentially talked about throughout the entire book, this concept of resistance. And he sort of defines it. I mean, I think I can pull up his exact definition, but he kind of defines it as the universal force that is like getting you to stay I guess I would define it as like a unseeable universal force that is getting you to stay stagnant. Um,
I wrote down resistance, maybe this is just the way you use it. Resistance arises from within, prevents us from doing our work.
yeah, so it's essentially okay, more or less the same. It's just something that's like trying to get you to stop doing what your like, I guess, quote unquote, like life calling is. Um,
Hmm.
versus, I mean, when you say work, you don't mean like your physical 9 to 5 work. You mean like
No, your life's work.
your life's work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the purpose of your life, what your calling is, I guess.
Yeah,
And
the point about resistance that I took away from the book is that resistance shows itself with fear towards something and sometimes disguises itself as rationalizing. That's kind of how I view it. Because like you could be scared. Sometimes like you're scared to make a change, and it's got you kind of anxious, and then you kind of rationalize all the reasons you should stay with the status quo. Whether, it could be anything. Why you should stay with your job, stay with the major you've picked in school, stick with your profession, zibby, zibby, zibby. I don't know. Is that kind of how like more as like fear of breaking away from the status quo?
yeah, I mean, I guess the main to that point, like the main example I feel like they would always be given is like keep working this job instead of, pursuing, your passion like X, Y, and Z. Because if you don't work this job, then like, how are you going to support yourself? How are you going to feed yourself? If you have a family, how are you going to provide for your family? How are you going to pay your mortgage? Like, what's going to happen if you're homeless? Uh, I guess that would be the rationalizing aspect of it, but. I think at times he also sort of touches on the fear of like success as well. Like people are afraid of handling the success. It's
Or it's
not near.
no, no, I know exactly the part you're talking about. It's the possibility. I mean, I even underlined it here. Page 143, fear that we will succeed. Here, you know what? I'm going to just read this because I thought it was like a super good page. Resistance feeds on fear. We experience resistance as fear, but fear of what? Fear of the consequences of following our heart, fear of bankruptcy, fear of poverty, fear of insolvency, fear of groveling when we try to make it on our own, and of groveling when we give up and come crawling back to where we started. Fear of being selfish, of being rotten wives or disloyal husbands, fear of failing to support our families, of sacrificing their dreams for ours, fear of betraying our race, our hood, our homies, fear of failure, fear of being ridiculous, fear of throwing away the education, the training, the preparation that those we loved have sacrificed so much for, that we ourselves have worked our butts off for, fear of launching into the void, of hurtling too far out there, fear of passing some point of no return beyond which we cannot recant, cannot reverse, cannot rescind, but must live with this cocked up choice for the rest of our lives. Fear of madness, fear of insanity, fear of death. And then it goes on, these are serious fears, but they're not the real fear, not the master fear, the mother of all fears that's so close to us that even when we verbalize it, we don't believe it. Fear that we will succeed. Yeah, that was that part stood out to me. I mean, I even like put the page down because I thought that was
Yeah,
the
I earplugged that one as well. I guess just real quick, because I've actually done this exact rationalization to myself. I'm curious if you have as well. The middle of that page, fear of throwing away the education, the training, the preparation that those we love have sacrificed so much for, that we ourselves have worked our butts off for. Uh, I mean, I've literally said that to myself. I'm like, man, I spent so long and worked so hard to get a PhD. I when I've thought about leaving chemistry, I've like rationalized myself of like, man, worked so hard for this, and now you're just going to, it's like you're going to just give it up now? Like, Really? Uh, and it's hard, like it's hard to look at thinking, I mean, if I would have just done other things, like I wouldn't have had to invest all that time and effort into that, and I could have achieved essentially probably what I want to achieve now without really any education. I guess I don't know. You sort of did that, so I guess how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I rationalized it for a long time, staying in the cube life. And I did, well, what do they call it? This sunk loss fallacy, this idea that, the more time and effort and money you put into something, the more you feel you have to keep doing it. And it's really some sort of construct in our minds. It's not real in any, I guess, like objective sense. But yeah, a lot of people use this to rationalize staying with what they're doing. Um, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. Did you have any other like thoughts on that? Or, I mean, and for me, like, it's not only like our parents kind of, supporting us through school, but then I thought back, I was constantly thinking back, like, how many like hours did I like slum it in the basements of these libraries just all alone and just doing math problems and I even put up a lot of my own money because I kept failing the exams. I probably spent 20K over the years out of my own pocket paying for those exams. So I did constantly think back to those, but then I also think back to like when I was going through at least the entry level exams, I liked it just for the sake of it. Like I could go and do math problems for 3 hours like it was nothing. Like I was just like cooking basically. Like it was fun for me. I didn't really need anyone outside. I kind of just like learning the stuff or the material. So I guess the point of that is that I don't think you have to feel bad about your preferences changing over time, is what I would take away from that.
Okay, that's yeah, that's a good. I feel like that's a
Because
good way to phrase
because
it.
there's a lot of people that like something at one point in their life and they spend a real lot of time, they invest a lot of energy, a lot of money sometimes in something, and it's okay if it doesn't give you what it used to give you. And it's okay to pivot and you're probably going to survive because a lot of people think about all the things that can go wrong, but then they don't think, and to his point, they don't really think about the things that can go right. Or the positive like externalities that will pop up if you make a change.
I mean, I
So I
think
guess that's what I would say.
well, to his point, I kind of think what he was saying is that a lot of people are afraid of it working.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Not
That.
necessarily that, it can, they're not thinking about it being able to go right, but like, I don't know, success is handling success. A lot of people can't do it, I think, in a weird way. Or they're not accustomed to it almost. So, if you make a change, you both risk you risk failing, but you also risk succeeding because sometimes
Mhm.
it's harder when you succeed.
That's
Um,
interesting. It's harder. You mean because different
just different things pop up. Like,
different issues present themselves?
right, you start running. I mean, I've never really I mean, I guess I like quote unquote run my real estate like my real estate stuff, but I've never run like a serious company. But imagine if you have a company that starts taking off and you become successful, imagine all the added responsibilities of running that and how much more difficult it is to run a successful company than just be, I mean, I guess we're just sort of talking about a general employee than being a W-2 worker. Uh, it's not for everyone. It's
Yeah.
hard.
I guess I wouldn't necessarily say it's like harder. It's just different. Like there's different aspects and different issues that pop up. I think
I think it
from
is, well, it's, yeah, different, but I mean, I guess for the most part,
because
like,
uh-huh.
okay, go, no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, it's super hard to like go through medical school or some sort of PhD, but I mean, so that's wicked hard too. So I don't really view like that as like less hard than like running a company, necessarily. I just view it's a different kind of skill set and you have to get practice at different things. Like, I mean, it's probably more managing people. It's more interactions with people as opposed to just technical know-how.
Right. And I guess you are right. I shouldn't say it's harder. It's different is a better word. But it is totally different skill set. Like I think about a lot of my professional friends that are like doctors or dentists, a lot of them don't, I have a couple of them that just want to work as like a professional for someone else and not deal with the admin associated costs. And you get to the point where I feel like you have doctors in particular, like the majority of their time is no longer, if you're running your own practice, the majority of your time isn't really seeing patients. It's dealing with, just sort of BS.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I guess if they're actually, I didn't realize that. I guess I just assumed they had like office managers and stuff. Because yeah, I could see like if you're a dentist, you don't want to be doing like the admin type of work. You just want to be, yeah, doing your job basically. Like why you went to what you went to school for.
right.
Um, so I guess in the first part of the book, one thing that I wanted to bring up is there, like, when have you been so fearful of something to the point where you've been compelled to do it? Like, are there things like points in your life where you're like really scared, but you just like feel like you have to do it? So I guess you're kind of going, you're fighting against the resistance, but like you felt compelled to. Like, can you think back to a time where you were
When
so
I
scared or,
when I was so scared of doing something but did it anyway.
yeah, you like it was so scary and it stuck out so much that you felt compelled to do it. I really couldn't think of many in my life, but
I
I thought of
can't.
like,
Well, you have an example?
I mean, the one moment that sticks out to me, and this is totally random. Like I got when I tried out for the Michigan cheerleading team. Like I got this flyer in the center of campus to come out, and basically, if you were male, you just had to show up because they needed guys. And I remember like walking back and forth outside of where I knew the tryout was going to be. And I remember being like super scared and nervous for some reason. And I'm just like, I feel like I have to do this because, and it kind of goes to what we were talking about with Jordan Grumman. I feel like the idea of minimizing future regret. Like, and I remember being so worked up over this that it got to the point where I was like, okay, I definitely have to do this. Like I don't even know where this is gonna go. And I ended up only being on the field for one game. But looking back, like that is one moment where I just felt I had to do this. And I guess I felt the thing is, I don't know if I would call it resistance really, but it felt like, but I guess it would kind of be resistance. But it was like, yeah, it was like fear, but it was fear to the point where I felt compelled to go to the tryout.
Okay, so now that you've said that, I kind of felt that when I tried out for the club soccer team my junior year. Uh, and I remember they had us, and then you know, I made it that year out of like, I don't know, there was one spot for a goalie. there was probably 80 people trying out and probably like maybe 5 or 6 goalies. So I made it that year. Then I almost immediately broke my thumb. So then I sort of got sidelined. But yeah, I remember being really sort of scared about, it's also kind of like an ego thing. If you don't go, you can say, you're always able to say, uh, I actually feel this a lot in pickleball now. If you don't play, you can always say like you're good enough and you didn't lose. Versus if you go and like don't succeed, if you go and like lose.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I deal with a lot of people that to me, at least on the outside, appear so fearful of are so afraid of not winning that they're not even willing to try almost,
Hmm.
which I think is kind of sad. But
Okay.
I felt that. I remember the first time they asked us to scrimmage the varsity team. I remember feeling so incredibly nervous going to that game. Essentially, like afraid I would be laughed off the field, like I wasn't good enough to play with them, type of thing. Uh, I guess I still occasionally feel that in pickleball sometimes. Feel like I don't belong in the court with certain players. But it's
Okay.
like if you don't go and try, like you don't know, I guess.
Hmm. Okay.
Worst that happens is sometimes you get beat.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I think this might actually dovetail into okay, so the last part of the book, the part I took away is this idea of operating in like a territorial mindset or a hierarchical
Oracle, yeah,
mindset. And I guess I would sum this part up as so if you are operating territorially, you would be doing the thing if you were like the last person on earth. Like you kind of do it with no outside enforcement or reinforcement, no like results, nobody like cheering you on or pressuring you in any way. And um yeah, I just thought that actually was that's really what I'm going to take away from the book, this idea of like how are you operating like when you're doing something throughout the day. Is it because you actually want to do it or is it because some outside force has made you think you want to do it or you feel like you have to do it for some reason? But like you wouldn't do it necessarily if you were the last person on the earth. And I think that is a good I don't know. I liked that message or that thought. And he brought up like Arnold Schwarzenegger, the idea that if Arnie's the last guy on the planet, he's still going to the gym because he likes going to the gym. And I like that idea of artists acting territorially.
yeah. I sort of took that as doing something essentially to show your place in a hierarchy, like to show, i.e., like you're better than someone, versus doing something because you just love doing it.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and yeah, I viewed what he was saying is that if you're like a creative or you're an artist, or it's not even necessarily like an art, but like to what you were saying, if you're if you're doing something because you love it, you would do it if you do it territorially, like and not just. He also brought in this concept that like when you're in your territory, you get like an added boost. Like you feel like
mhm.
you're at ease, you feel calm and confident, and it's enjoyable for you because you love being there. So
Yeah,
I think he
because
was saying
he,
like Arnold would get a boost if he's in the gym, or he gets a boost when he sits down to write because his calling is writing versus doing those things just to show that you're better than someone. And if you listen to Arnold, it's interesting you brought up Arnold because if you listen to Arnold talk, Arnold will talk about like when he was in the gym, he was always smiling. And
mhm.
he said people would always come up to him and ask him like, why are you smiling? Like you just did 500 crunches, did a 500-pound squat. Like he would say, like, I just every time I'm here, I know I'm like one step closer to my goal of being Mr. Olympia. Like 500 crunches closer. I'm, one squat closer to achieving my dreams.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they brought up Arnie in this book. They brought up Van Gogh, the idea of like painting, painting what we now consider masterpieces over and over again, not having like a single sale, and this idea of like I'd rather live in poverty doing what I was meant to do. And actually, I don't know if you heard, Mr. Beast just passed 400 million subscribers on YouTube, and he had a great story of like for 7 years, he basically just, you know, lived, slept YouTube, and he was telling his mom thought he was crazy, and he was just like, I'd rather live in absolute poverty and keep doing this every single day than, basically give, you know, an F about what the outside world thinks that I should be doing. Um, so yeah, it's just a cool message, I think. And he brought up this idea of like a hack. And I had to explain this to Elena, my wife, because she didn't understand. But like, and I guess I don't really use it this way, but he was saying like a hack is someone that asks their audience what they want first. So it's like you're basically using outside forces to dictate what you're working on. And I thought that was kind of interesting because some of the stuff I've been learning through some of these YouTube like things I've been reading and like listening to is sometimes they say like to analyze like the title and like this like search engine optimization before you even make a video. But like to me, like that is a hack. I mean, it is a hack and you can make money being a hack, but it's like you're kind of like drifting away from what you actually want to be doing because like you're letting outside forces dictate what you're working on. And like I don't really view. I've started doing. I do my videos like how I want to do them in general, but I'll use the titling search to like just for marketing purposes. But I try not to let these like search engine optimization things dictate what I'm doing. I mean, that's just an example, but like it could be like, are you asking people what they want to hear written, or are you just going to write what you want to read, basically? So I don't know. I really like that message in that second part of the book, or I guess it was like the third of the book.
Yeah, I guess most people would call that like a hack colloquial or a hack today is usually used as something that like makes your life easier. I think most people would call what he was describing as a hack is like a sellout.
Yeah, I think that's a better phrase, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Um,
So,
yeah, I think that's a powerful, and actually we touched on that I think in the first, I'm blanking on the title, but the first creative book we did, they said essentially the same thing. Like do do the art that you want to do. Write the book you
yep.
want to write. Don't don't write a book you think people want. Like
Hmm.
even because in to some extent it's like even about like staying true to yourself. Like at the end of the day, you did what you wanted to do, and if people don't like it, like so what? Like they don't like it. It's not a big deal, but you're not pandering to others.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I don't know. Are there things? Well, okay, first question. Like, if you look through your day, what in your day would you do regardless of like outside results?
Yeah, I mean, well, so like as I was reading this, I mean, the thing that I would do, even if I was the last person alive, is something that, you can't do alone. But, if there were, I would do it regardless, and that's to play. Like I would go hit pickleballs, uh, regardless of
Okay.
results. And, I
What about
lose.
reading?
Reading, I would continue to do.
Okay, so that's you got that. What
But
about what
most
about okay, keep going, sorry.
I mean, would I go to a lab? And if you would have asked me this question, what am I 34, when I was 28, I probably would have said I would have, when I was 28, I probably would have said I would have went and read chemistry. But I don't feel the same desire to do that anymore.
Hmm.
I would say. So I don't know. What about you?
I mean, I was thinking about this. Yeah, reading. I would still juggle my, I mean, I still juggle my soccer ball all by myself, so I would still do that. Probably wouldn't need to be selling land because there'd be no one to sell it to or buy it from. Um, so I would probably just work on survival skills is what I ap approached upon. And but after reading this book, I did feel a desire, and I've been saying I will do more epoxy projects like forever, and I finally started one yesterday. So I cut up some pallets of wood into like 2 by 2 squares, like almost 2 inches thick, and I'm gonna make a chessboard, an epoxy chessboard.
All
I think
right,
it's gonna look pretty baller, but
that's
I
kind of
had to
cool.
cut up 32 squares, and it took me like I think it took me like 2.5 hours. I was definitely not efficient at this because like I did not really think it through. I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna go do this. And from the outside, it probably looked pretty dumb, but I felt pretty good doing it, and guess I'm one step closer to that epoxy chessboard.
Good. That's good.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I guess, well, sort of dovetailing back to the doing like what you want to do. I mean, I guess just thinking about my life, I mean, I haven't published the book, but the rough draft of essentially my time in grad school and how I got started in real like I mean, it's not like I'm some major real estate player, but how I got started in real estate, I mean, I feel like I did write, I have a draft of that, and that's the book. I feel like that's what I wanted to write. Like I told, in that draft, I've told the stories that I wanted to tell that are involved in it, and I don't know, I definitely some of the people that have read it have told me they feel like I should take some stuff out, but I don't want to take it out. I feel like it's important to the story.
okay.
Uh, I feel like when we do these book drafts, I often pick the books that interest me. Even maybe sometimes to the detriment of more audience members. I feel like I pick what interests me, and I try to always read what I find interesting. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and the author of this book similarly sounded like he tinkered with writing a lot, and I don't know if he wrote books before, but then he felt the calling to write this Legend of Beggar Vance, which that's the Will Smith movie, right? About golf.
Yeah,
Or
I had heard of that movie. I've never seen it. I know it's
yeah, so
about
I get I
golf.
yeah, so he felt compelled to write this story, and sure enough, that was his hit finally. So that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. And yeah, it wasn't some marketing thing. He wasn't really told. It seemed to go against the grain, but he just felt compelled to write it, so he wrote it. So I don't know. Any last remarks? Yeah, short, good, short, sweet.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's more or less all I have. I mean, I think it is, even if you don't see, I guess, to a lot of the main people in this book, most people, I think, if they sort of like your Mr. Beast story, I think most people won't see massive gains for chasing what they love, but feel like it is still useful to stay true to yourself.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, please reach out to us at brothersonbooks@gmail.com for any book recommendations, or if you'd like to be a guest host for a particular book you have in mind. A great review or rating on whichever platform you're listening to this would be greatly appreciated. And lastly, if you can think of any friend, family member, or coworker that might like this episode, please pass it along. I am Jack Allweil, and with me, as always, is my brother Alex Allweil. And Al, what do we got cooking for next time?
The next episode will be the season 12 book draft. So we're doing a whole
That's
new. We got a couple guest authors and guests already lined up, and I guess we'll just be picking our new books.
Yeah, should be should be a doozy, and hopefully you tune in so you can read with us. Until next time.
Till next time.